Hello everyone, I'm Squallcasting, and I've got another game of StarCraft 2 for you to enjoy. In this particular match, we do have Ergoproxy. He is the hero of this particular cast because he sent me this game. So thank you, Ergoproxy, much appreciated. He is in the Platinum League, so we should be able to see some good stuff. Up here we do have Yolbolsun. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that name. It feels Asian to me, maybe Chinese. Actually, no, that's not Chinese. Chinese sounds like, plates crashing together. Whatever. He's Yolbolsun. I'm probably just going to call him Bol, or Bolsun. Or maybe just the Blue Protoss, if I'm really struggling with saying the name. So yes, we do have a TVP here. Probably going to see the pretty typical, eventual build up to Colossi, and then the Terran will get a Bio Ball plus Vikings. That would be my guess. That's pretty darn standard. Hopefully we'll see some shenanigans and fun things. But that said, standard games can be pretty enjoyable to watch as well. So Ergo is going to move out and scout now. We'll just follow this SCV on his epic journey to the enemy's base, as he just trundles along with rocket jets shooting out of his back. I have to wonder if the SCV drivers actually get, like, really out of shape, because they aren't actually moving. They're manipulating a mechanical suit. They're not actually pushing themselves. It's rockets pushing them, and it's mechanical drills doing the work, so yeah, I don't know. Anyways, he's going to scout in. He did check to see if there was an expansion. There was not. He does see a single assimilator. That was fairly quick, I would say. Typically, usually start your assimilator, well, actually I guess that's pretty standard. Yeah, ignore what I said earlier, I don't know. Usually I start mine later, but that's because in most of my games I 4-gate. Not anymore, but yeah. When I was trying really hard to get back to Diamond, I 4-gated a lot. I'm a man, I can admit it when I've done things that are mildly cheesy. It didn't always work. I had like a 100% win ratio against Terran, because the bulk majority of them would, like, 1-rack gasless heavy and they wouldn't be able to hold it. Zergs would usually beat me, and then Protoss was like, it was a it was a coin flip whether I'd win or not. Anyway, so we do have the Cyber Core going down now. Ergoproxy is getting another barracks. The Tech Lab did just finish up and getting a Reaper. Oh, fun. Excellent. This isn't really the best map for it because you don't really have a lot of cliff line you can abuse, but it could still be fun. I'm just trying to check other potential spots. Yeah, actually this is honestly a really bad map for it, because yeah, it's just this area here which could be spotted from the high ground. None of this expansion here is really exposed to cliff lines, so, but still could be good. Bolson is getting a Stalker out, and Stalkers deal with Reapers quite well. So I don't know how well this will work out for Ergo, but we'll follow it. We'll see what happens. But if you're ever thinking of doing Reaper play, one thing to definitely bear in mind is the map you're on. Because some maps are pretty good for Reapers, and some maps are just terrible. And really, it depends just on how much cliffline you have. Now, it does look like he'll be able to sneak up in there. Hopefully the Stalker won't notice for a while. You might be able to get a probe kill or two. Yeah, I'm going to start working away, and wow, Bolson just pulling all of his probes. I don't know if that's quite necessary, but even though Ergo has only killed only two probes, he basically killed a ton of mining time, and all those probes went into gas. That was a little funny. But, yeah, I mean, I would say that Reaper was actually totally worth it, just because Bolson pulled 100% of his probes off the line. I don't think you need to do that. Certainly you don't want to lose a ton of probes to the Reaper, but what I probably would have done is grab maybe 4 probes and just sent them at the Reaper, and then tried to pull them back as they take damage, and that just forces the Reaper away from your mineral line, and then you can pincer it with your Stalker and take it out, and hopefully not lose, you know, maybe lose 1-2 probes at the most, but not lose all that mining time. Because there was, I guess, 15 seconds where he just wasn't mining at all there. So, that said, Bolson does have his expansion done here, whereas Ergoproxy has not even started one. Wow, he's going up to 5 racks. that's a lot of barracks. I don't even know if you can actually support that on one base. They all have tech labs. Is he just going Mass Reaper? That'd be kind of fun. You might think, well, that isn't viable at all, but have you ever watched 10 Reapers just run into a base and, like, two-shot a Nexus? It's pretty scary. And, you know, it might as well enjoy those D8 charges while they still exist, because they are going away in Heart of the Swarm. And if you didn't know about that, you might go, but they'll make Reapers useless. They won't be able to snipe supply depots and other associated buildings. But what they're doing is they're changing it so that Reapers will have a passive health regen out of combat, very much like the Protoss shield regen. So instead of, you know, using them to try to kill buildings, you could say run in, try to pick 1-2 probes off. If you get low, you run away, let it heal up, and then go in again later. And with that Nitro Pack upgrade, they move outrageously fast. So I would love to see Terrans start using Reapers just as like a general scouting tool in Heart of the Swarm with those Nitro Packs, because it's no, it's not that expensive of an upgrade, and depending on the map you're on, it could be very good just in terms of cliff lines. Anyway, getting back to the game, Bolson does have an idea this attack is coming because he saw it with the Observer. Proxy is moving out now. What kind of standing arm does Bolson have? He has 2 Immortals and 3 Stalkers. I don't know if that's going to be enough for this many Reapers, because I mean, Stalkers are decent against Reapers, but this many Reapers and this many Marauders? The Immortals will deal very well with the Marauders, but there's a ton of stuff here. And the thing is, Reapers fire very quickly for small amounts of damage, which is what you want against Immortals. Here we go, moving on up. We'll see how this works out. Reaper's starting to work away the Zealots. The Zealots falling quite quickly. There goes one Immortal. Another Immortal will probably fall pretty shortly. Does he have concussive shells? Yes, he does. Kiting away that Zealot, starting to work on the next Immortal, picks it off. Probe's coming off the line, so he starts kiting back. And I don't know if he's done quite as much damage as he could, but once again, just dealing economic damage by pulling all of Bolson's probes off of the natural. So let's take a look at the resource loss. Yeah, so he definitely came out of the wrong end of that equation. But he did manage to deal some economic damage and killed 1 or 2 probes. If nothing else, I've never quite seen an attack like that. That was interesting. But, that said, Immortals have a ton of life, so, yeah. I don't know if that's something we'll see develop into the metagame, but that was cool. I love seeing unique strategies, and whenever I'm playing, I tend to do them myself, just because sometimes I just don't like doing the standard thing. For example, if I'm in a PvP, and it goes to the late game, I refuse to participate in Colossus Wars. I just won't do it. And so instead I'll just be like, I'm going mass air. And like, usually it doesn't work out, but I don't know. Colossus Wars feels to me a lot like the Roach-only wars that we saw with Zerg for a long time, where it was just a matter of who can build more Roaches, and whoever can build more Roaches wins. The metagame has evolved out of that since then, which I'm very glad for. But to me, Colossus Wars feels a bit like that, where it just kind of comes down to who has more Colossi. There's definitely still positional stuff involved, where, you know, you need to have a good spread with your Colossi, and you don't want them really bunched up and all getting hit by the splash, but yeah. And Ergo going to move out once again. Still has Reapers in his army, and wow, upgraded Reapers move really fast. I haven't seen that upgrade in forever. That is really cool. Bolson making 2 Robo Bays. I feel that has to be a mistake, unless he wants to do something like get extended thermal lances and warp prism speed at the same time. But no, I'm pretty sure that's a mistake. He forgot he was building it and put down another one, so it's a lot of lost resources. Actually, how much is that? 200, 200? Yeah, that's not cheap. That is almost the price of a Colossus. But these things do happen. I've seen pro players accidentally throw down a second spawning pool, for example. But here we go. Proxy has stim now. Going to push on in. We'll see how this works out. 3 Immortals are very potent against this many Marauders. And Proxy sees that army and goes, nope, I'm not going to engage into that, and heads on home. Definitely a good move. Didn't want to just throw away his army. Probably would have killed a fair bit of stuff, but I don't think it would have quite worked out for him. Let's take a look at the work accounts. Bolson quite a ways ahead of Ergo. But in all likelihood, this is probably relatively even thanks to the mules. Well, sort of. Yeah, I'm gonna say Ergo is behind economically. Even with the mules, he's barely equalizing. So when the mules go away, he just won't be equal. So it's a little bit unfortunate. He is producing SCVs now, so trying to catch up. But Bolson definitely showing a bit better macro at this point, and also just overall economic awareness in terms of continuing to produce probes, even though he lost a few early to some kind of crazy early aggression. And Bolson is taking this third now, as I showed earlier, but didn't want to talk about because I don't like interrupting myself with, "Excuse me, Squall, there's an expansion here. We need to discuss that now. You can talk about economy later, even though expansions are very economy related." Yeah, no, I don't like interrupting myself. Just not the sort of person I am. Now, Bolson is moving up. Looks like he wants to push a bit. Has a pretty decent mix here, I would say. Does not yet have any upgrades. Is working on one. Going to hit a little while before it finishes. But here we go. Big engagement. Sentries throwing down a few force fields. Pitting back some of the bio. And looks like this is going to go in Ergo's favor, as he does have a lot of Marines. And those chew through Stalkers and Immortals like nobody's business. Ergo definitely losing a lot of units, but cleaned up the entire army of Bolson. And Bolson is behind on supply for pretty much the first time in the game. And Bolson realizing that was just not a good engagement for him. That might have gone a little bit better if he'd used the sentry energy for Guardian Shields instead of Force Fields, because the Force Fields didn't pin back that much of the bio for any length of time. He was just in too open of an area, but if he'd used Guardian Shields, that would have mitigated a lot of damage. He probably would have at least traded a little bit more evenly. Now Bolson does have a single Colossi out, is getting another one. He is getting he did get a Templar Archives. Saw him throw that down earlier, but he was attacking, so I couldn't talk about it then, because I didn't want to interrupt myself. And besides, that'd be a horrible point at which to interrupt myself, because it'd be like, "There's an amazing battle!" No, look at this tech he's doing. Go look in his building, or in his base, where nothing's fighting and dying. No, we want to see the action, guys. But as you can see, I'm a very conflicted person within myself, because I'm always arguing in my head about what's more important. I'm not actually. Apparently I'm in an odd mood today, but whatever. So long as everyone's having a good time, it's all good. And yeah, Bolson did not get Observer or Warp Prism speed, so yeah, that was a mistake. A little bit sad, but it does mean that if this Robo Bay gets sniped by a drop, he's got a backup Robotics Bay. Not the worst thing in the world. He could have done something like build a second Cyber Core, which, well, I guess it would be better because it costs less. Anyways, Bolson does have 3 Colossi now. He has +1 attack, +2 is on the way. Proxy does have +1 attack as well. Not getting any other upgrades. Bolson is adding on another forge, so it looks like he wants to get more upgrades. I really like seeing that. Double upgrades, always a good thing to do. And what's the battle cruisers? When did this happen? Oh, man. I'm so busy talking about myself and the way I argue with myself that I missed battle cruisers. And Proxy going all in. So here we go, battle cruisers firing away, feedback's going down the battle cruisers. Proxy with a hearty raffle, the stim going down, and wow, Proxy is just kind of killing everything. Definitely lost a fair bit of stuff, but he killed everything a lot faster than I thought he would. Bolson's trying to rally for the defense. There are Stalkers to start working on those battle cruisers. It looks like they aren't being repaired anymore. Did Proxy lose all the SCVs? Yeah, he's lost pretty much all the SCVs with that force. So that's a bit unfortunate, but these battle cruisers are still doing work. And they shoot so very fast. In fact, I think they are the fastest attacking unit in the game. Some medevacs finally arriving. Medevacs at the 19-minute mark. Pretty typical, I guess. So this army is now much more durable, but the battle cruisers and the Marauders are not fighting together. Needs to, yeah, there you go, stimming up the ramp to start working on those Stalkers and Marauders. So good against Stalkers, can push them back very nicely. And now he's working on the base, and this is looking off. Oh gosh, clicking the wrong thing. This is looking awful for Bolson. He's so far ahead economically. Pretty sure he still has more workers. Yeah, only 10 SCVs at home. But he's losing all of his production buildings. But gets a really big warp in. Charge out surging forward. Oh, but I don't know if this will quite be enough. Yeah, he doesn't have enough Stalkers to deal with these Marauders, because Marauders are ridiculously good against Stalkers. And Proxy just continuing to camp this base. Now, what do we have down here? No, okay, I was hoping Bolson was maybe rebuilding some production facilities, but not quite happening. And this attack still going on. Medevac's run out of energy and suicide into the cannons. This battlecruiser, 14 kills. And Proxy very intelligently micros it back. Hopefully he will send that home to be repaired. But for now, Bolson's only warping at Zealots, which can't really shoot up. And sadly, they do not have the leap ability that I want them to add, where they jump up into the air, latch onto an air unit, and then hack away at it with their Psi Blades. It's called Psi Blades, I think. Yes, Psi Blades. Looks like Rocky did drop a mule. I don't know if that was a Manor Mule or if he wanted to repair the Battlecruiser, but either way, it didn't do that. And, yeah, Bolson's just in such a difficult position now. What is the probe count at? He still has more workers than Proxy. But, yeah, this base is going to get cleaned up now. Takes out the cannon, starting to work on the probes, and I think this might be curtains for Bolson. He is still trying to warp in units and just rebuild an army so he can fend this off. And these Marauders have just done so much work. They have lived forever. This Colossi, though, looks like it's going to start to clean things up. And, yeah, so Ergoproxy's attack finally being demolished. And Bolson in a difficult position. And yeah, the probe count definitely got whittled down a lot, so now he's even with Proxy. If Bolson had managed to keep more of his probes alive, he's never seen the Battlecruiser Marauder SCV all in. But if Bolson had managed to keep more of his probes alive, he would actually be in a decent position, as he would be economically ahead of Proxy. Proxy looks like he's going to stim in here, try to maybe snipe a few more probes. Or working on the pylon. Yep, killing the pylon. Not the best decision. This photon cannon helps buy some time for the Stalkers to arrive and drive back this army. But what I was saying was, Bolson, if he managed to keep more of his probes alive, he would definitely be in a better position, because while a lot of his base got hollowed out, he still has the Templar Archives, he still has the Robotics Bay, he still has the Robo Facility, and he still has 6 warp gates. I think one was added on recently, but he still actually has a fair number of his tech buildings, in spite of, you know, having Marauders camping in his base forever. So, if you manage to keep more of his probes alive, he would actually be in a decent position, but as is, I'd say he's about equal with Proxy right now. But that said, Bolson has a pretty beefy force here. He does have an Archon, a Colossus, with 18 kills. That's a pretty epic Colossus. Proxy scouting with a Starport. I've seen scouting factories, but never a scouting starport. But this is going to be difficult. That Archon and those Colossi are going to do so much damage. He needs to stim right now. There's the stim. Great reaction time. Cutting back, taking out the Zealots. Probably going to focus that Archon next. Or going to stim forward and try to get the Colossi. That was not a good move, as he is now losing all those units to those Archons. Archons deal so much damage to biological units. SCVs come forward to try to equalize. But Proxy is now in a world of hurt. And Proxy with the GG. And indeed, Proxy did say at the beginning of the game that it would be a fun game, and it was. And I love seeing goofy games where people try weird things. And yeah, I was talking about that at the beginning of the game, and it kind of happened. And no, I didn't watch this game in advance and know that. I knew. For the record, I don't watch my replays in advance because I like being surprised by things. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. Thank you, Proxy, for sending me this replay. Big props to you for sending me a replay in which you lose. Every community game I've cast up to this point has been of the submitting player winning. You know, so it's kind of gotten a bit predictable. Oh, yeah, this guy's probably going to win, but yeah, I appreciate you sending me a game which was fun, but you ultimately lost. I really appreciate that, so thank you. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this cast. And, yeah, thank the rest of you for watching as well. Please do like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.